Hey guys, and thanks for joining me for yet another video. In this presentation, we're going to take a look at how to prepare hash browns. Now, hash browns is pretty easy to make. It's primarily the main ingredient is potatoes. However, in this case, we're going to be enhancing that with a bunch of nice little herbs and flavor. So it's not just going to be a bland potato. So let's get into this video. Hey guys, and thanks for joining me for yet another video. In this presentation, we're going to be making homemade hash browns. So to make hash browns, you can use, one potato average size like this will give you about 2 hash browns. So I'm going for about 6. So yeah, we're gonna peel these, and then we're gonna need a grater to grate them. We're gonna be using the finer side to this side. You're also going to need a strainer. After we grate the potatoes, we're gonna need to strain off the excess water. It's gonna produce some water for you. To season it, we're gonna need an egg, a bit of minced ginger and garlic, a bit of chicken base concentrate, green seasoning, as well as a touch of hot sauce, which is optional. It's up to you. We're not going to be using pure salt because salt breaks down the potatoes. So like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be using the finer side to this, so that would bring us around to this side. So we're going to be using this side of the grater to grate our potatoes. So I have them all peeled here. Some people like them with the skin. I prefer them without. So I peeled them, and I'm going to be grating all 3 of these into here, and then I'll be back to show you what we have, and you'll see how much water it produces. So as you can see here, there's a large quantity of water in this after I've strained it. You can see the water is quite visible. Now this is the part where you would usually push your potatoes through your strainer. However, I did realize that I have some cheesecloth, which is going to give me a better squeeze on this potato. So I'm going to be using that instead of the strainer, because the strainer has too much holes. This is a bit more finer. So initially the potatoes started out like this. After I ran it through the cheesecloth, as you can see, it became a nice dry ball in a sense. So it squeezed out really well in this case. And from that first bile, this is the amount of water that came out after I squeeze it. So you see, the cheesecloth gives you a nice hold on it, and you can wring it out like clothes, So after you squeezed out your potato, it's still nicely shredded on the fine side there. So you can open it up with your hands like I am here, which is a great option. Just open it right out. We're about to season this we're gonna season the egg really, and then we're gonna be pouring it into here just to bind it, because the egg is the only thing we're using to bind our potatoes back into the hash. Now to season these potatoes, what we're going to do is we're gonna be seasoning our eggs. So to the egg, the 1 egg, we're gonna add half a teaspoon of minced ginger, half a teaspoon of minced garlic, 1 teaspoon of chicken base, 1 teaspoon of green seasoning, and a half a teaspoon of hot sauce. You could put how much or how. We're gonna give those items a whisk into our egg, and then we are going to be adding our egg to here. I would say pour about half of the mixture up top over the egg, just about half of your eggs in here, and leave back half. And then we're going to use that same fork to start. So we're still mixing our egg in. I'm just going to be pouring the last of it in. The egg is going to be binding this potato together once it goes into the heat. But before I proceed with continuing to mix in the last of the eggs, we're going to be needing to take ourselves over to the stove right now. So to our frying pan, we're going to add, I'd say about a good 5 tablespoons of oil. Enough so that the base of this frying pan is covered. Turn back to our eggs, And we're gonna just be mixing this in all the way into our eggs. All the potatoes, you know, you go through each bit as much as you can because you're pretty much seasoning it at this point. So now I'm going to be portioning it. Like my goal is 6, but I'm gonna see how much I get. Now we don't want to let the seasoning sit too long because I mean it will start making your potatoes super wet again, but this is the only way I like it wet. So for me, I just go in with my fork and I just scoop up a possible amount. We're gonna start with one at a time here. So you can use a spatula or you can use a fork. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna just press down our potato into the shape. We're gonna kind of guide the sides back in. It's gonna be kind of wet, yes, because we did add wet ingredients to it, but I'm pretty much giving it the shape of the hash brown that I want. And mind you, the oil gets super hot. Now this part is super optional. You can use some panko. This is a Japanese style breadcrumbs. You can use some of that as an extra binder on here. I don't always use it, but I'm gonna put a little bit. So like a teaspoon up top, and then you just pat it in. And then I just usually would just kind of go in with my spatula. Usually I have 2 hands to help guide it on. But yeah, I usually just go in with my spatula. And don't worry, we can form it again once it gets into the fire. So we can shape it once we get it onto the stove once again. So now we're gonna guide it to the oil. We're gonna be placing this directly into the oil at this point. And now is the time where you can reshape it because it hasn't taken any form yet. So we're gonna reshape it and we're gonna leave that be in the oil for now. We're not gonna touch it until we start seeing some golden evidence on the sides. So that'll be our guide to show us how far. So at this point here, I have 3 of them in the oil. As you can see, I'm starting to get a little bit of that golden color on the edge. So this is a great indicator that this particular one is ready to be flipped. Now, there's no easy way to flip it. You flip it how you can. Sometimes I just get lucky and I go underneath and I get flipping it. And then, there we go. So as you can see, we got a nice golden color there. And you can, so guys, this one is ready. I like mine to be a certain golden color. And this is ready to go. See, it's not burnt. It's just nicely golden on the edges. That's what I like. And that's on both sides. I'll flip it so you can see. So we got a nice golden from there. This pan here is also ready. Both of them are actually. So we're gonna take. Hey guys, I just wanted to come back and show you the hash browns that I got. They turned out really nice and golden. You see? Yeah, got some really good results. You can tell the difference with the ones that were done with panko. Like this one, it's got a bit more crisp to it. Listen, but they're all cooked pretty nicely. Let's break into one and see what we got. So we've got some nice golden hash browns. This one's perfect. Yeah guys, so that's how I do my hash browns. And then I just put it on the side of a breakfast plate like so.